Hi guys, welcome to Pro Academics. In this video, we are gonna learn about continuity of life. I hope this will be helpful for your studies. Before we move on to reproduction of plants, let's see what is reproduction. What is reproduction? The life process that gives rise to a new generation from an existing generation is referred to as reproduction. Basically, reproduction can be divided into two types: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. What is asexual reproduction? Reproduction that occurs by spores or vegetative parts from a matured organism is known as asexual reproduction. What is sexual reproduction? Reproduction that occurs due to the fusion of two gametes producing sexual structures of male and female organisms is known as sexual reproduction. Structures that are adapted for sexual reproduction can be found in evolutionary advanced organisms. In plants, the structure that is specially formed for sexual reproduction is flower. Do you know that? In animals, there are male and female reproductive systems. Now let's see. Now let's move on to reproduction of plant. Mainly, there are two ways this reproduction of plants occur. As we saw before, reproduction can be classified as sexual and sexual. The same in reproduction of plants. There are two main ways of reproduction. First one is asexual reproduction of plants. Second one is sexual reproduction of plants. Reproduction of plants can be also called as propagation of plants. Let's see what is asexual reproduction of plants. The process of generating new plants from underground or aerial parts of mother plant is referred to as vegetative reproduction. Vegetative propagation is of two types. First we saw reproduction of plant can be classified into two types: asexual reproduction of plants, sexual reproduction of plants. Here, the asexual reproduction of plants can be classified into two types: natural vegetative propagation, artificial vegetative propagation. What is natural vegetative propagation? Does anyone know? I'll teach you. Generation of new plants naturally from underground or aerial parts of a mother plant is known as natural vegetative propagation. This occurs from various vegetative parts: roots, leaves, suckers, runner, bulbils, underground stems. I have given some examples for each of them: green leaves, breadfruit, guava, begonia, akapana, kadupul, paddy, banana, pineapple, gotukola, sweet potatoes, pineapple, jute, hondalam, ginger, taro, leeks, potato. There are further informations in your textbook. Let's see what is artificial vegetative propagation. Production of plants vegetatively by man is known as artificial vegetative propagation. This can be also done in several ways: rooting or stem cutting, layering, grafting, tissue culture. I hope this will be interesting for you. Rooting or stem cutting. New plants can be obtained by planting stem cuttings of a mother plant. It is more appropriate to select twigs from a healthy plant that do not bear tender leaves, flowers, or fruits at the time. Example: rose, shoe flowers, ixora, bougainvillea, and croton. Layering. Initiate rooting while it is still attached to the mother plant is known as layering. This is of two types: ground layering and aerial layering. What do you think about it? Let's see what is ground layering. Rooting is initiated from a branch of plant closer to the ground level by this method. First, a small cut is made on the underside of the selected twig. Then the twig is bent and buried under the soil. After a few weeks, the twig will develop roots. Then the twig is separated from the mother plant and is planted. You can try this at your home by using jasmine or lemon. Now let's see aerial layering. This method is used for the twigs which are high above the ground. A ring of bark of a twig is removed. A mixture of compost and coir dust is placed around the place and tied with a stripe of polythene. After a few weeks, the twig will be developed. Then the twig is separated from mother plant and is planted. You may also try this at your home by using pomegranate or lemon. Here are some pictures for you which depicts ground layering and aerial layering. As it told, see how they have made it. Let's see what is grafting. Here we will learn twig or bud. Okay? Connecting a twig or a bud of a plant to a plant of same or closely related species is known as grafting. Two parts of plants grafted are mentioned below: stalk and scion. What do you think about stalk and scion? A rooted part of a plant is known as stalk. Twig or the bud taken from another plant and grafted to a stalk is known as scion. Let's see how the characters should be for stalk and scion. Stalk: bearing a strong root system, having a uniform growth, withstanding environmental changes and diseases. Scion: should be a variety of good characteristics, should be free from pests and diseases. In the process of grafting, stalk and scion are fused together by their cambium. Therefore, grafting can be done only on the dicotyledonous plants which have cambium tissues. Grafting can be done in two ways as follows: bud grafting and twin grafting. Here also we are learning the two types, which is bud grafting and twin grafting. Here I have given you the pictures of bud grafting and twin grafting. Let's see what is bud grafting and twin grafting. Selecting a plant bud as the scion and grafting it to a stalk is known as bud grafting. Cutting a live bud which is located above the leaf scar using a grafting knife. Second, making a cut on the stalk and insert the bud into the cut. Next, wrap the place from bottom to top using a polythene strip. After a few days, when the bud is about to emerge, remove the wrap and re-wrap, keeping a bud open. Next, cut the stem of a stalk about 15 cm above from the bud after about 3 weeks. This will be very useful when you do cultivation at your home. Let's see twin grafting. In this method, a twig of a plant is taken as a scion. Procedure of grafting is given below. Okay? First, select a twig of a fruit-bearing plant. It is more suitable to select a twig which has no tender leaves, flowers or fruits. Is it clear? Next, cut the twig without damaging the cut. Next, fix the twig to the stalk so the cambium are contacted. Wrap the place from bottom to top using polythene stripe. At last, remove the wrap when the twig is observed to be growing. A plant, a rose plant, it grows and it may bloom for 1 year. But after that, it may die. It's because of this. It's having a short lifespan. Okay, next we'll see tissue culture. New offsprings which are identical to the parental plant can be produced by cultivating any vegetative tissue of a plant in a culture medium under controlled conditions. Offsprings thus obtained are called clone. Genetically identical clones can be obtained by tissue culture. Generally, tissues are taken from apical buds, lateral buds, or root tips for this purpose. Sucrose, mineral salts, vitamins, and plant growth substances are included in the culture medium used for tissue culture. Agar is used to solidify the medium. Sterilized conditions and controlling of temperature and light should be practiced for the success of tissue culture. Here I have given some principal steps followed in tissue culture. Introducing the part of vegetative tissue obtained from mother plant into the culture medium, allowing new roots and buds to be developed from the tissue called callus, which is grown from the vegetative tissue introduced. Separating the plantlets and placing them in test tubes or flowers to grow further. Gradually, let the new plantlets to get adapted to natural conditions to be cultivated in the field. This is the picture which depicts the steps of tissue culture. Okay. Here are some advantages of tissue culture. Production of offsprings which are identical to mother plant, propagating a large number of plants at the same time, production of a large number of plants in a short period of time, propagation of a large number of healthy plants in a limited space. Can be obtained a large number of plants which using a hybrid tissue with a favorable gene. Here are some advantages and disadvantages of vegetative propagation. What is vegetative propagation as this learnt before? Vegetative propagation is reproduction of plant. That is asexual reproduction of plants, right? Let's see what are the advantages and disadvantages. First, let's see advantages. Ability of propagating plants that do not produce seeds successfully. Ability of having offsprings that are identical to mother plant. Propagation of plants that bear fruits early. Ability of propagating selected plants which are resistant to diseases and pests. Ability of generating plant varieties which withstand adverse environmental conditions. There is only one disadvantage, maybe more, But in your textbook, there is only one. New varieties are not evolved. Let's see sexual reproduction of plants. What do you think about sexual reproduction of plants? Seeds are produced by fusion of gametes producing sexual structures in mature plants. These seeds can grow into new plants. Mainly, as I told before, in the reproduction of plants, in sexual reproduction of plants, flower is taken as the main structure. The structure that bears sexual parts of a plant is the flower. Parts of a flower are arranged in whorls on a receptacle which is located at the tip of the flower stalk or pedicel. There are four principal parts of the flower: calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. Androecium can be also told as stamen. Gynoecium also called as pistil. Let's see the parts of a flower. This is a picture of longitudinal section of a typical flower. First one. This is ovary. A long and a curved part is called style. And this part is called stigma. And the combination of three, ovary, style, stigma, is gynoecium. And which is anther? This is called anther and this is filament. And the combination of anther and filament is called androecium. These are petals. These things everyone knows. Petals are so colorful. These are sepals which protect the bud. When the flower is in bud form, these sepals protect. After blooming, the sepals fall on like this. This is ovule and this is receptacle. Okay. Let's see what is calyx. Calyx is comprised of several sepals. This is the outermost part of the flower. I told you, right? These are sepals. Comprised of several sepals are calyx. Okay. Calyx is a whole of sepals located on the receptacle at the tip of the flower stalk. This is flower stalk. This is called pedicel. This is green in color. Yeah. You may observe this at your own home if you have a flower. This protects the flower parts when the flower is in bud stage. Okay. Next, corolla. Corolla is composed of full of petals and it is located inner to the calyx. This is white or colorful. Corolla protects the inner parts in the bud stage and attracts insects for pollination when the flower blooms. These flowers are colorful. These are called petals. The whorl of petals are called as corolla. Androecium. As I told before, the comprised of anther and filament is called androecium. This is the male reproductive structure of a plant. There are pollen sacs in the anther. There are pollen sacs in the anther which contain pollen. When matured anther bursts and pollen release, pollen are the male gamete cells of plant. Gynoecium. As I told before, comprised of stigma, style, ovary is called gynoecium. As androecium is a male reproductive structure of a plant or a flower, gynoecium is the female reproductive structure of a flower. Ovules are located in ovary. Ovules are located in ovary here. Ovules are the female gamete cells of a flower.